Hey, welcome. I'm Mike Gastin, and I'm glad to have you along today. I am a strategic marketing and brand consultant. I work with privately owned companies to help them thrive. And today I want to talk a minute about Mastercard. Did you hear the news about Mastercard last week? They announced that they are modifying their logo mark, their brand. They're dropping the word Mastercard from many instances and applications of their logo mark. This means that you will see just those overlapping red and orange circles and no name, no Mastercard attached to that. Now, this is being driven by their Chief Marketing and Communication Officer, Raja Manan. I believe I said his name correctly. Raja, apologies if I did not. And the idea behind this, I think, is threefold. I think the company's trying to accomplish three things. I think the first thing that they're trying to do is to leverage that iconic aspect of the brand. There are some brands that achieve a level of global recognition that don't necessarily need to have their name next to their mark, and we just all know what they are. I'd like to read a quick statement from Michael Beirut, one of the partners of Pentagram Design, and also the company that helped Mastercard a few years ago redevelop their brand, and is partly behind what they're doing now. Michael Beirut says, "We live in a time where increasingly we communicate not through words but through icons and symbols. Mastercard has had the great fortune of being represented by two interlocking circles, one red, one yellow, since its founding in 1966. Now, by allowing this symbol to shine on its own, Mastercard enters an elite cadre of brands that are represented not by name, but by symbol. An apple, a Target, a swoosh. Mastercard's two interlocking circles have always represented their commitment to connecting people. Now that commitment is given greater presence by Mastercard's status as a symbol brand." Now, think what you might, but I do think that Mastercard is able to pull this off. I think that just seeing the two iconic symbols is enough to help us know that we're looking and thinking about Mastercard. Now, the second reason that Mastercard is doing this, I think, is driven by the realities of today's technological world. Look, if you use any type of mobile device, whether it's a tablet, whether it's a smartphone, and even online web app, if you're using a laptop or a computer, the interfaces are getting smaller and smaller. Now, real estate comes at a premium. Being able to drop the name buys you some precious pixels. And when you're using a smartphone to transact in some level and you're using an app, to see the Mastercard little circles without the name makes a lot of sense. Most consumers are going to see that and know that they're dealing with Mastercard. And at the same time, the company frees up some space to do other things with that user interface. To me, that's a smart move. And I think more and more, even brands that are not iconic are pushed to try to find ways to economize space when communicating their brand effectively. Now, the third reason that they're making this change, and this is the one that I have the most issue with, is this idea that Mastercard has transcended being a credit card. Now, that I agree with. If you think of Mastercard, yes, it's a credit card. It's been around since the 60s, and it's just like Visa or American Express. It's this plastic thing in my wallet, and it allows me to buy things, and then I get a bill later that I can pay. But Mastercard has kind of repositioned itself, and I think it's done so successfully. I want to read just a quick statement at the end of their press release about this change and how Mastercard describes themselves. Mastercard is a technology company in the global payments industry. Our global payments processing network connects consumers, financial institutions, merchants, governments, and businesses in more than 210 countries and territories. Mastercard products and solutions make everyday commerce activities such as shopping, traveling, running a business, and managing finances easier, more secure, and more efficient for everyone. Now, the phrase that you really want to pay attention to there is that Mastercard is a technology company. They do view themselves and they're positioning themselves differently than being a finance company or a credit company or a financial software company. They're a technology company. And I think that's a smart move. What I do question is this desire to drop the name Mastercard because it carries too much of the card connotation. It harkens back to the 60s and 70s and 80s and even the 90s when it was all about credit cards. Now, of course, we still all have these plastic things in our wallets. We use them. I happen to have a Mastercard product in my wallet along with some Visa products and others. But the fact of the matter is the name is problematic. You can drop the name and people can see that iconic logo, just like Michael Beirut was saying. You see the Nike swoosh, you know it's Nike. You see the Apple, you know it's Apple. And my criticism or critique rather of this move by Mastercard is that you have card in your name. You have the very thing that you're trying to escape in your brand's name. So when I see those two circles, I'm still going to think Mastercard. Yes, I'll see it in different instances and different contexts that disassociate it from an actual card. But until you change your company's name, you are still Mastercard. If it's just your logo, if it's your logo with a name, if it shows up on an app or it shows up on a plastic slab that sits in my wallet, your name is still Mastercard. Now, this doesn't have to be deadly, and I don't think that this is a big problem. I think that they can overcome this, and I'm not saying that they're doing the wrong thing, but I feel like they're just glossing over the fact that their name contains the very thing that they're trying to get away from. So as a branding strategist, I do question that. I wonder what were the conversations. I'm sure they've talked about this. I'm sure Raja talked about this and decided we're not going to change that name. I'm just conjecturing here, but we're not going to change that name. It's too iconic. We've got too much equity invested in it, but we can drop it. We can kind of minimize it in as many applications as makes sense and then get away from it. Well, I think that's kind of a halfway decision. I think there's maybe a better opportunity to communicate what you are as a technology company, maybe a renaming or a modification of the name that better communicates the concepts that you want the market to embrace. Kudos for Mastercard to step out a little bit. Kudos for them to accomplishing iconic status. But hey, if you're thinking about this Mastercard and you truly want to escape the connotation of a card, I highly recommend you think about that name. Maybe there's an opportunity to modify the name to better embody who you are and who you're becoming. Guys, thanks for your time. If you like this kind of content, do me a favor and give it a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I post regularly on things that have to do with brand, marketing strategy, and success as a business owner. Hey, I love you all, and I hope to see you in the next video.